Hello, and welcome to the San Francisco Gay Men's Chorus Behind the Curtain series. I'm Chris Verdugo, the Executive Director of the San Francisco Gay Men's Chorus, and today I am absolutely thrilled to have with us on our show His Royal Highness Prince Manvendra Singh Gohil. Now, I had occasion to meet the Prince when I was the Executive Director of the Gay Men's Chorus in Los Angeles. And throughout the years, we have kept in contact. And most recently, just a few years ago, we also had the occasion to welcome him into rehearsal here at the San Francisco Gay Men's Chorus. I am deeply honored and grateful that he has agreed to spend some time with us, sharing stories about his life, his childhood, and his work with HIV and AIDS and LGBTQ homeless youth, period, amongst his very colorful stories. So please join me in welcoming Prince Manvendra. Welcome. How are you?
Thank you, Chris, for having me. And it's so nice to see you after so many years on virtual platform. And I'm glad that we stayed connected in Los Angeles and also in San Francisco. And I'm very happy to be on this show. And thank you for inviting me.
Well, you're quite welcome. It's not quite the Oprah show that you've been on several times, but we do our best.
How long have you felt or known you were gay?
I didn't know this actually until I did some reading earlier this week. You were in an arranged marriage.
Yeah. I was in an arranged marriage with the princess because because of being raised in the royal family and with absolutely no communication with your parents. And in those days, we didn't even have any social media or mobile phones, or there was no exposure to the outside world. So I grew up thinking I'm like anyone else, because one thing is very interesting in India, and which I keep repeating, is that even in our country, even though there is a lot of homophobia and there is hypocrisy and everything, but our country is special because we accept the homosocial culture. And when I say homosocial culture, is that we always see men and men together and we see women and women together, and that's not seen as a problem. The problem is when a man and a woman is together. So I grew up thinking that because in our palaces also, we have the king's palace is separate and the queen's palace is separate. So in the king's palace, only men are allowed, and the queen's palace, only the women are allowed. So when I was growing up, I had a similar kind of situation, and I used to think that this is normal, for men and men to be together, women and women. So I didn't see that, I'm gay or homosexual and all that, because that's a homosocial culture. I had a lot of girlfriends in school, but just girlfriends, no relation between them. But whenever I would like to meet one or any of the girlfriend, I wasn't allowed to see them in private. I always had to take my nanny with me. But if I had to meet a boy, I had no permission needed. I could see that boy, or the boy could see me, because as I said, we are accepting the homosocial culture. So keeping that in mind, I got married to a girl because I had absolutely no clue about my sexuality, that this is my behavior or this is what I am, So that's the reason it was my own will. I wasn't forced by my parents. It was I married this princess because I liked her nature, and I just got married to her.
So we'll fast forward to the part where you eventually came out. So how was that during the relationship, and at what point then did you come out? How was that process? Well, I know how that process was for you, and I'm sure you will share it. But how was that being in the relationship, and how did you sort of navigate, your homosexuality and coming to terms with that?
So our marriage didn't last long. It lasted for 15 months. I never had sex with her. I wasn't attracted towards her. So marriage wasn't consummated. She was a virgin. And she proved to the court, and I said, yes, she is a virgin. We haven't had sex. And non-consummation of marriage is a very valid ground for divorce in India. We were divorced. And then I started exploring myself, and I got in touch with India's first gay activist. His name is Ashok Rao Kavi. And it was through him that I got exposed to the gay world. I got an identity to myself. I accepted my sexuality. And that's how my journey began as a gay man and gradually as a gay activist. And later on, I founded my own organization called the Lakshya Trust in my state, which was the first organization to start working for the gay population, gay and transgender population. And then I kind of came out to my parents through a nervous breakdown. I was so much pressurized to live a life of hypocrite, which I didn't like to live, and with marriage pressures coming, because the people of my town wanted to see the next in the heir to the throne, because they already had that expectation. When is he getting married again? When is he going to bear a prince? That kind of expectation was there. So pressures coming from all over, that I just broke down and I had this nervous breakdown. And while I was being treated in the hospital, I came out to my parents through the psychiatrist, and then the hell broke loose, because it was worse. They tried to convert me through religion, through shock therapy, through surgeries, and many different ways. And when that didn't work out, then emotional blackmailing started. And then I couldn't take it anymore, and I said, now I have to set myself loose, and I want to break all the barriers and break all the misconceptions which people have. And fortunately for me, I was contacted by a newspaper who wanted to do my story, and I was very happily agreed. And next day there were headlines said, the Prince of Rajpipla declares he is homosexual. So that was a big earthquake which happened in India, much worse than any of the earthquakes which have happened in the past. And with the epicenter in India, and shockwaves going right up to America.
Yes, they did.
Yeah, so it was necessary, because I also never realized, but I actually created history by becoming the first member of a royal family in the world to come out as gay. So it created a big scandal and a big controversy in India and many countries where they were never expecting that I would kind of make this kind of a statement. So, and there was a lot of things which happened. My effigies got burnt in fire. The people of my town, they were protesting. There was violence. There was widespread chaos. My parents brought out newspaper advertisements disowning me, disinheriting me, and it was like going against currents. I started receiving death threats coming to me, and but I didn't go back. I kept on fighting, and because see, what happens is when you speak the truth, it's not accepted that easily. We are so much used to listening to lies and fakes that we always, when truth comes out, then truth is always bitter. But I knew for one thing for sure, that truth always wins. You cannot live a hypocrite life. You cannot accept hypocrisy for a long time. Truth will win, and I stuck to my truth and my honesty, and that's how I survived.
That's an incredible story. One that I do know, but I think every time you recount it, it's really powerful. And I also, I know that you received death threats, and that the government even offered you security, and you turned them down.
Yeah. Chris, I'm so lucky. I am fortunate to have met my own assassin. Can you believe it? The guy who was hired to kill me, I actually met him. I was one day sitting somewhere, and this one guy walks up to me and says, "Sir, I want to meet you in private." And then when I met him in private, I said, "Yes, what is it?" He said, "I was hired to kill you." So I said, "Okay, I'm standing here. What are you doing? Where's your weapon? Where is your gun? Where is your sword? Why don't you kill me?" He said, "No, that it flopped out. It didn't happen." I said, "Oh, really?"
I mean,
that's terrible.
I mean, that's horrible.
I said, "That's terrible." I said, "That's terrible. That's bad news." I mean, I'm so sorry your plan flopped out. But I'm so glad that he confessed, because I think he was living with that guilt feeling in his mind, that he was hired and he was not able to, and he finally confessed. And Now we are best of buddies. I get along well with him. I said, come, let's have a cup of coffee together, So just imagine, I actually met, I'm so lucky. See, we know for the fact, so many people have been assassinated. Kennedy was assassinated. Our own Mahatma Gandhi was assassinated. None of them were lucky enough to have met their own assassins, I'm sitting and having coffee with my assassin. So I'm a luckier person than anyone else.
Well, actually, you've left me speechless, which is difficult, as most people know. But I think, wow, that that speaks to your character, which is quite incredible. That you would befriend your would-be assassin. That's extraordinary. I mean, it's extraordinary, and it keeps, I think, in alignment with who you are. I also know that even before you came out, you helped to fund the very first hotline for gay people in India.
Yes.
That's incredible.
Right.
How did that even come about?
Yeah, so I was telling you about this gentleman, Ashok, who helped me, empower me, and to give me expose me to the gay world. So he started an organization called the Humsafar Trust, which is the first organization in India which started working for the LGBT population. So they had started a helpline where they were trying to help a lot of gay men in crisis, with coming out issues and many other issues. So they were running short of funds. So I said, okay, no problem. I will be able to fund that for you, so that I wish that people get counsel, get they should not be in depression, and they can be provided with the help. So I kind of was helping them with that helpline.
Yeah, you quietly funded that. And then why don't you tell us a little bit about the foundation as well, and the work that you're doing now with LGBTQ homeless youth?
Yeah, so I started Lakshya Trust, this non-profit organization, in the year 2000. We are now 20 years old this year. And with the aim that we could provide a platform for the community to come together and share their issues, common issues like coming out, marriage pressures, legal issues, and more so HIV and AIDS, because HIV had started spreading very rapidly in India in 1990s, and the government realized that there are vulnerable populations like the homosexual population, they call it men having sex with men population, the transgender population, and they should work with these kind of groups. So it was thanks to HIV. HIV came as a blessing in disguise, and which actually helped empower a lot of LGBT groups in India. And that's how Lakshya started, and we were the first to get government funding. And government is still funding us. We work for HIV prevention and awareness amongst the men having sex with men and the transgender population. We have covered almost close to 50,000 population all around the state, giving them medical treatment for STIs, sexually transmitted infections, for HIV. We do counseling. We are now working on the mental health issues of the population. We are also working specially for the transgender population with the transgender rights. And we are also working for the senior LGBT population. And I came up with this idea that I have a kind of a property which is one of our royal establishments, and I said, for whom should I leave this behind? I'm not going to be having children, so why not I kind of convert my royal establishment into a shelter home, into a home which could house the homeless population from the community who would be thrown out from their homes when they come out to their parents. So I started building my dream project and in my royal establishment, and a couple of years back. So now it is in the process is going on. That we had a bit of a delay because of the COVID situation, but we are gradually I'm making a skill center. My aim is that I want to see the community socially and financially empowered, so that they come there. When they come there, it is a transit home for them, where they feel a safe and secure place to live their life of their truth and to experience the freedom of who they are and what they want to do. And I want them to go back and face the homophobic world, the homophobic society with confidence and being financially independent, that nobody can subject them to stigma and discrimination. That is my aim. So that's what I'm trying to do there, and provide them with medical facilities, library, learning center, music therapy.
You are an inspiration. I mean, you truly are. And I think we're grateful here in America for the work that you're doing in India. And you mentioned, I've got to get to music, and I know I've heard you play beautifully. I know you're
Yes.
a musician, and you mentioned music therapy as part of the programming in your center. How was music therapy for you? And why don't you tell us a little bit about the instrument that you play?
Yeah. So my other hobbies and passion is music. I have been a student of Indian classical music ever since I was 5 years old, and I was trained in a very old music school in Mumbai. And very recently, I've been trained in playing an Indian instrument which is called the harmonium. And I've performed in Hollywood. I think you were perhaps there when I was invited by the Gay Men's Chorus of Los Angeles to perform.
How did you use music when you were growing up and through your years? How was it therapy for you?
Music has been a very good therapy for me, for all my ups and downs, and fighting my loneliness and fighting the fact that I was not given proper love and affection and attachment by my parents, and then growing up and then having to face the trauma of getting divorced, and then trying to find an identity, even my nervous breakdown. All throughout my journey, music has been really helpful to me. Music and yoga, they are two things I'm very passionate about. I've also been trained as a yoga teacher, and I've taught yoga in Fire Islands. If you can imagine that. So, yeah, I actually taught yoga in the Fire Islands. So I've been practicing yoga, meditation.
And you also fell in love and got married, right?
Yes. Yeah, I fell in love, and it didn't happen overnight, of course. I was dating a guy. I mean, we were friends. He's American, of course, and then our friendship got converted into a relationship. We got married in 2013 in Oregon, as well as in Washington State, and that is 7 years ago. And so that's been my journey with having a married life, and we are very happy. We have been accepted by the royal family. That's a big thing. It's a very big thing that my father and my husband, they get along really well with each other, and even the other members of the royal family have accepted him, and he's a favorite amongst them.
Oh, that warms my heart. What a wonderful thing to hear, especially at this moment. That you and your family have had some sort of reconciliation, obviously, and that they've accepted your husband. It's wonderful to say your husband. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Of course, I know that in just having this conversation with you today, many years past, that you take all of these opportunities, that you're able to be on camera to really, advance your personal mission for the LGBTQ community, and to advance the message of acceptance and love, and happiness, and we try to do that as well at the chorus. So I think we align in that way. I know we're getting sort of toward the end here, and I did want to ask you. I read something, and I want you to share the story. But you had a moment with your grandmother before she passed, right?
Yeah, my grandmother was very supportive towards my cause, and she was one person from the royal family who was, she admired my courage to come out and all. And I think I've seen that in the older generation, there is more support, has been seen, at least in India. She passed away at the age of 89, and I went to see her at her bedside just a few hours before she passed away. And she took my hand and she said that, son, now I can die in peace, and my soul will rest in peace, because now I see you that you're in a secure position. You have a husband now, so you're not alone. And I'm no more worried about you, or not worried about your security and your safety. So that was her last words before she passed away. So I think that kind of words are just enough for one to realize that yes, we are accepted.
That is beautiful. That is beautiful. Thank you for sharing that moment with us. Yeah, that's me getting a little bit clapped. I know we've talked a little bit about what you're building in India. What is your vision? What is your vision for the LGBTQ community in India? When you have passed on, what do you want your legacy to be?
So see, I'm at the moment doing two things. One is this home is getting built, and other thing is even though we have a law in India which has been decriminalized, we are no longer treated as criminals after our Honorable Supreme Court passed this historical judgment on 6 September 2018. But still, there is a lot of work to be done. We need to work for a lot of other issues like same-sex unions, marriage, adoption laws, inheritance. Many things are still to happen. So for that, I am trying to educate and trying to create as much as awareness as possible, especially amongst the youth population, amongst the students. Because I always believe that the root cause of any kind of change which can happen is through the youth, through the students, because they are the future of our country, they are the future of any country, the future of the culture, and they are the ones who can help us bring about change, and change for positive. Not just our issues, it can be any issues, it can be environmental, it can be health, any kind of issues. So I am concentrating on that, and I wish that this education and this awareness continues, because it is a never-ending process. We have to continue doing this as long as we live, and even after I am no more, this education has to continue. And I am also trying to groom and build new role models. We need now, how I was a role model to several. Now we need new faces. Young generation has to come out and talk and be confident about themselves. So I'm trying to mentor some new young gay men who are who want to be like me and who are inspired from my life and all that. So we have to now prepare for the next in line, because we have to remember one thing, that nobody on this world is permanent. We all have to go one day, but this legacy has to continue. The LGBT movement has to continue, and we all have to continue our fight. We need to continue our struggles.
Beautifully said. And when your father passes, would you become the Maharaja?
Supposedly, yes.
You would be the world's first gay Maharaja, if that was.
I was asked this question when I was invited to Iowa. I was invited to Iowa for the governor's conference on anti-bullying in schools, and especially with relation to the LGBT. And one student asked me this question, sir, do we see you as the first openly gay king? And then I, as a joke, just replied back, well, I don't know whether I will be the king or the queen. so yeah, that was just a joke, but yeah, that's the way I responded back.
I love it. Well, I was going to say, yeah, I've had occasion to speak with a lot of queens over the Zoom on our Behind the Curtains, but you're my first prince, and I think we would all love for you to be the first gay Maharaja if that indeed is is the path of your life. You have had an extraordinary journey, and you are an inspiration to so many of us. I think we all admire the work that you do and appreciate how you have used your platform to really advance the causes of the LGBT community, HIV and AIDS, and so many others. And we just want to share our gratitude with you. And I will say I'm honored that you allowed me to call you Manvendra. So thank you for this time, Manvendra.
Yeah, thank you so much again for having me here. And I wish you the same for you and for your loved ones.
Thank you.